Today, I have my top 30 characters in Universus. I spent a lot of time over this last week putting together my rankings, making sure everything was perfect and preparing for this video. And then yesterday afternoon, this happened. Mikasa and Reiner got hit with major erratas. Mikasa's top response now says you can clear a weapon card from your card pool, so you can still play non-weapons. They just have to be your finishers. And then Reiner's top enhance now says your attack only. He can't just sit back and ruin you on your turn. He has to be a little bit more proactive in his game plan if he wants to ruin you. I'm not like upset about either of these erratas. I think they were perfectly logical. I would question whether or not they were needed. I had Mikasa at 6 and Reiner at 4 in my top 30 before the erratas. I don't think that they were running away from the field. In the past, it's really taken a character putting a massive gap between themselves and the rest of the characters in most players' minds before they get errated. Thinking Kirishima 2, Ojiro 2, younger Toguro. I'm not necessarily saying that I thought these characters had ran away as the best character, but most players did. And I don't think Mikasa and Reiner were there at all. I think you just had to change the way you played against Reiner. And I think with Mikasa, if anything went wrong with her killing you early, she kind of just went belly up. She played very, very fraudulent defenses. There were ways to disrupt her turn 2 kills. I think both were, it's okay for characters to be powerful. And then a lot of people say, well, they just weren't fun to play against. Well, that's pretty subjective. Like what you think is not fun, somebody else might find really fun. Like if we were just banning not fun play experiences, Mineta 2 wouldn't have been a thing for the last several years. Personally, I despise when my rival flips over Byakko or Ghidorah. I just don't enjoy going up against those characters. I still enjoy playing Universus, but when they flip over those characters, I'm a little let down inside. I'm not looking forward to the round as much as somebody else. So I hesitate to use that as like an excuse for an errata. If you wanted to take down the turn 2 kills for Mikasa, you could have just hit Beast Summoning or Lightning Rod. But with all that considered, I'm not mad about it. They're perfectly logical. To me, it's like when they banned Back Alley Haymaker. It was like, okay, it is a very strong card. I don't think it was needing a ban, but we will just adjust. That's what we do as gamers. We just adjust our rankings and we move on. Universus, the show will go on. This did frazzle me a little bit for my top 30 rankings, though, because these were going to be format warping characters. I suspected that in Atlanta, at least 10% of the field would be on Mikasa, and at least 10% of the field would be on Reiner, maybe even 15% plus of the field for both of these characters. So that was really weighing heavily in my mind. Like face down foundation characters, for example, I was taking down lower. I had Overhaul all the way in the 20s. I think I took him up to 16 now. I had Ochako 4 off of my rankings. Now she's back in my rankings. But enough about that. I'm getting ahead of myself. Let's just jump into the rankings and talk about it. Okay, first up, characters that can top cut Atlanta. Coming in at number 30, I've got Erwin Smith, 7 hand size, 23 health character. I was a little hesitant because of him building the top card of his deck face down and then Reiner just being able to ruin it. But now Reiner is probably not going to be, out at nearly the levels as I suspected that he would have been before. And so a 7-hander with 23 health that says +2 or -2 speed is just always going to be good. Up next, Shigaraki 3 at 29. This is probably the lowest I've had him in a while. Just not comfortable being 19 health right now in the format. But he does get some cool cards like Chomp, a Breaker 2 card, or he can use it to destroy something, which is going to make his check hacking hurt worse. Also, Mineta 2. I thought Mineta 2 was a little higher in the past because he had a pretty good Mikasa matchup, since he gets to stuff her card pool on her turn and disrupt her kill turn. But he still gets some cool things with like Chomp and Final Words. There was a debuild Mineta 2 strategy going around in the past couple formats, and I suspect that just got better here with Attack on Titan. Coming in at number 27, I've got Ochako 4. Like I said earlier, a character I had left off my rankings because of Reiner, but now she's back on. I really don't think anything's changed with Attack on Titan. Her past best build is probably just still her current best build. Coming in at 26 and 25, I've got characters that can play City Rampage and Risky Encounter. Both these characters are probably surprises, but I honestly believe this. If you can play City Rampage into a string of 5 diffs and then finish off with some risky encounters that are already 3 diffs, but now with City Rampage, they're technically like 2 diffs at this point. That's just crazy. Death Arms had a really good Mikasa matchup, getting to commit 2 things down. I guess that's gone now, but still probably very good. Inasa, you got a couple different ways to build him. You could play all the 4-check attacks since he passes them so well, getting to ready foundations every single attack. Or you could play like a Grenadier Bracer strategic maneuver. He can play strategic maneuver and just build in Grenadier Bracers. Probably one of the best Bracers characters in the game right now. All right, at 24, I have Eren the Attack Titan. This is a character that I think I was sleeping on a little bit in the past when I first ranked Attack on Titan characters, but that ability of just grabbing any attack that you want from your discard pile to your hand is very, very good. He's giving a pretty good amount of stats on his attacks. He's not giving speed, but that's okay if you can go and grab Twisting Azure Inferno. I was also very impressed with my brother's Spotlight list, where he was going and grabbing Rallied Assault. Even in Spotlight, he was playing like 8, 9 attacks on his lethal turns. It was just crazy. At some point, you can't block all of those. In Standard, we just had an Eren list top 8 at the Boar's Hat case event, which was 29 players, and he was always going and grabbing Twisting Azure Inferno. So that makes sense there. Bakugo, another risky encounter character that, risky encounter has weapon and has fury, meaning playable by Bakugo 4. Bakugo already got better with Luna Tejeras. Now you get Luna Tejeras, risky encounter, and go for the win. A very, very good triple combination. And then at 22, I've got Bertolt. This is the highest health 6-hander we have ever had. And yes, his human side's not that great. One time something gets completely blocked, you can clear it and put it into your momentum, and then you get to discard 1 and draw 1. And there are things that when you discard, you also get to draw. So it's not terrible. All of these shifters, their human sides, are much, much worse than their Titan sides. But once you flip to Colossus Titan, first off, that ruin and burning for X health, X equals your momentum, that's crazy right there. But then you're getting 3 damage and stun 1 on everything. So he's giving the same amount of stats as Eren, but now he's also giving like some pseudo speed with that stun. And then after your rival flips the foundation, they sacrifice it. That's not much, but it's something. That's just crazy. A 35 health character adding stun 1 and 3 damage to everything. I think we're probably sleeping on Bert a little bit. When he got hit with that errata, I think people immediately stopped thinking about him. But the errata wasn't really a big deal. How often was your rival completely blocking 2 or more things on your human side anyway? I don't think it took down his power level much at all. Then at number 21, I've got Hawks. Hawks just plays good, honest Universus. Didn't get too much in Attack on Titan, but still solidly in my top 25. Recovery Girl, I've seen some people messing around with like these new shift attacks. Beast Titan's Call to use Recovery Girl, make sure that it deals damage, and then build, then you get to go and build a shift attack. Or you could use like Thermal Blast and make it a throw, and now it's going to deal damage and just ruin your opponent's entire stage. But also just Recovery Girl is solid. And then Endeavor 3, falling down a little bit from where he's been in the past. I think he does struggle into like some speed hate characters like Rodan, for example. But he gets to pick up something from his removed from game pile. We got some new interesting things to pick up. Maybe like Besiege, maybe Farewell Between Friends. We got an action like, Seething Anger, where you get to play it. It doesn't count towards progressive for attacks, and then you get to mill yourself a little bit. So maybe his game plan sped up a little bit. Okay, at number 18, we've got Mina Ashido. Not too much new here. She can still just melt your face off on turn 2, turn 3 at times. Jin. We have blitzes now. He can't cancel blitzes, so I think he's fallen a little bit. He was in my top 10 before. Now he's here at 17. And then we have Overhaul. I had him all the way down at like the low 20s, but now that Reiner's gone, Face Down Foundations are back, baby, and so Overhaul is back too. Still, it's a pretty low ranking for where I've had him in the past. I don't think he got too much new. There's probably something there with like a Midst of Despair list, but I'm not sure. And then at 15, we have Godzilla. Godzilla is always going to see a lot of play among the player base just for being such a popular character. We did get a cool thing with Determined Advance, 6-speed move where the speed can't get reduced, and we're going to snap a momentum. Then we can spend that momentum to give our next check to play something +2, kind of making Determined Advance like a pseudo 4 difficulty move. That's a 6/6 where the stats can't be lowered. Beyond that, Godzilla's got to love that attack. At 14, we got Mimic. We're getting Dangerous Gambit from Attack on Titan to build down an asset and ready an asset. But I'm not sure that a 6-hander with 25 health and no defense is exactly where I want to be at the moment. And then Levi, just a solid aggro character. Everything gets +1/+1. I can commit to pick something up. Spiritual reprint of Ojiro 2. On the air build, you can play multiple Walk the Dogs. On the death build, you get dual needle lunge, ambush, thrust, loops, and risky encounter. Lots of different ways that you could go with this character. Then at number 12, we have my guy, Mirio. Guys, I heard that if you liked Reiner, you like an ability where you commit, discard momentum, reduce the damage, and then you like giving all of your attacks 2 damage. Well, this guy has all of that. He doesn't have a human side where he has to shift into this. He just starts out as this. And instead of debuilding your rival, now you get to change the zone of all of your attacks, and you're going to get access to still the best attack in the game, Phantom Threat. What's not to like? At number 11, I've got Byakko. Reiner players, you can just pile into Byakko. This is a big, beefy character that gets a better stage than his rival. Now you're just doing it differently, where you're forcing them to flip everything. And then we have Bionic Menace. I think this is one of the most slept on characters in the past. We had 2 Bionic Menaces make it into the top 30 in St. Louis, one of them top cut. Those were probably the only 2 Bionic Menaces to even show up to the event, and they both made top 30. Now we're getting Besiege, we're getting Increased Hostility, we're getting Sacrifice for the Cause. There's a lot to like here coming out with Bionic. Just getting to commit down a rival foundation, and then whenever you're ready, give everything +2/+2 is solid. And now for my characters that I think could win Atlanta. All of these characters up until now, I think you can make top cuts pretty easily, but I'm not sure you could actually take down the entire event. There's only 9 characters that I would put in this category. Starting off, we have Ymir. 7 hand size, 23 health. Once you shift, which you can shift pretty quickly with Ymir, since she just gets to build down a foundation right away during her combat phase, and then she shifts at 9 foundations. So she can kind of turbo shift, which is covering up a weakness that a lot of the other shifters have, which is, you have to wait until you're at 9 foundations until you can shift, and your human sides are normally much, much worse than your Titan sides. But she gives everything 2 speed, and then X damage for the number of times you've gained health this turn. With Immortal Shapeshifters, I know some people thought Shapeshifter might have been banned yesterday, but it wasn't, and that her damage can just go crazy. So you thought Endeavor 3 was good, giving +2/+3 to everything? Ymir's going to be giving like +2, +8, +10 to everything pretty soon, and she's a 7-hander, so while she can't go and pick up an attack like Endeavor 3 can, being a 7-hander kind of makes up for that. Number 9 is Ymir. And at number 8, I've got Elder Toguro. Hey, remember that super combo that took down the biggest event in Season 2 at St. Louis? Yeah, it's still here. It somehow dodged any sort of ban or errata. We still have Twisting Azure Inferno. We still have Sports Festival Champ. We still have Combined Firepower. And there's lots of other ways that you could build Elder Toguro as well. Very, very solid character here at number 8. At number 7, I've got Pony. 7 hand size, 22 health. Hey, Mikasa players, you liked clearing your card pool. Pony can do that. You liked giving your attack speed. Pony can do that. You liked having draw on face. Pony can do that. But you know what Pony has that Mikasa didn't have? Real defense. Pony can actually give things minus speed and put up some defenses, whereas Mikasa had an entirely fraudulent defense. At the expense of Pony's a little bit less consistent on turn 2, but you're also getting Feral Shriek, Wish Hard. You have more cards that when you discard them, you can then draw, meaning that her discard 2 cards, draw only 1 card is now just going to be discard 2 cards, draw two cards, and you got 2 horn counters. Okay, my top 6. First character here is Smiling Titan. We got rid of Mikasa and Reiner because they were not fun play experiences, but somehow Smiling survives. We can just play all the shift attacks, all of these 4-check massive attacks, give them +3/+3. There's easy ways to be able to play 2 or 3 attacks as early as turn 2 in this character. You can just play all the 6 checks, or you could go for a little bit longer of a game and actually play some real defense and play some real interaction with your rival, but just eventually take it down because you're asking your rival, do you have some sort of reboot every single turn? Because post turn 2, you're still only going to be able to block one of my moves each turn, unless you have something like Barrier Shield or Defending Pageant Queen. And then top 5, Toga 3. Probably the character that got the best with Risky Encounter. A lot of times Toga 3 wasn't winning games because she was 1 attack off of lethal. Now she will always have that last attack to kill you. This is a character that's just been getting better and better with every single new set. She was in my top 25, and then in my top 15, and then this last set in my top 10, and put up some pretty good results. And now she is here in the top 5. At number 4, I've got Amajiki. Yes, they gave us Waylay now. Waylay absolutely dunks on this character. But who is going to be playing Waylay is the question. How often is that card really going to be main decked? And then in the side, you still have to draw into it. And are you going to draw into it before Amajiki absolutely obliterates you? Because he can do that as early as turn 2, turn 3. It only takes 1 Armor of the Wolf. He's similar to Smiling. He's asking you, do you have a reboot, some sort of Barrier Shield? And you're probably going to need multiple of them, because I can just make this Armor of the Wolf fast enough and lethal enough 2 or 3 times over on a single attack. Then my top 3, I have a character that wasn't even in my top 30 last format. From outside the top 30 all the way to number 3, we have Ryukyu. I'm probably like the most known Ryukyu hater, but even I cannot deny what she has going on right now. You get vertical maneuvering equipment, and you get all sorts of new blank foundations and blank attacks to just ramp up your momentum like crazy. And then you can change the zone of everything, giving +3 or -3 speed, or you can just use her discarded momentum to give 4 damage. It's insane how fast Ryukyu ramps momentum at the moment. I think this was an unintended design consequence of giving us the blank 0 deaths. And at number 2, I've got Ghidorah. Ghidorah just never dies. We get a few new things here this set, only 1 symbol of support, but a few new things. We get like Attack Titan Emerges to always build in like Relentless Challenger or Unmatched Quickness to get that +1 minus or -1 or +1 speed and -1 or +1 damage. We get a lot of damage reduction foundations on death to just make this guy even more of an HP sponge. He was half of our top 4 in St. Louis, still very, very good. Matches up pretty well with a lot of the format. Like, hey, Smiling Titan, you're not just going to nuke me. It's going to be very, very difficult to take me down to Smiling. And then at number 1, no surprise, no shock, it's Rodan. It's 7-hander, 21 health, best speed manipulation character in the game, almost always giving ±3 or ±4 speed. Plus, we can just cheat and look at the top 2 or top 4 cards of our deck and have perfect information. We get combined firepower, probably the best action in the game at the moment. We'll always have combined firepower to block with. For some reason, it just ignores progressive difficulty. It gives us the damage that we need. So we're giving the speed on face. This is giving us our damage. There's so many ways that you could build this character. He's good on all 3 of his symbols. I think he is unquestionably the number 1 character at the moment. And guys, this top 3 was my top 3 before the erratas, and it is my top 3 after the erratas. Nothing changed. Oh, I did forget to mention, though, that Toga 3 also, all 3 of her symbols are in Attack on Titan. That's just kind of an aside. I probably just should have skipped over it, but thought I would mention it. That's kind of crazy. That's one of the very few characters where literally half the set is playable in her. But those are my top 30 characters. This is all of them, starting from Erwin and all the way down to Rodan. If you disagree with me about some characters, then prove me wrong. I am inviting you to prove me wrong this Saturday. In just 2 days, we're having the webcam circuit event number 2 with an invite to the $3,000 World Championship on the line. First place is going to walk away with 3 boxes of Attack on Titan and $100 and a super cool custom playmat that you can go watch my last video to look at what that playmat looks like. But that's this Saturday. If you disagree with me, come and prove me wrong. Also, in just 2 days is the deadline for my Chrome contest right now. Whoever can build the best 3 difficulty tribal attack deck or the best 4-check tribal deck, and as a supporter of mine, has the chance to win a Chrome Beast Titan. All right, guys, that's going to do it for me. I would love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. I'll see you next time.